Now, Dr. McNuggets, as we go live, Dr. McNuggets MD says 20 minutes is unforgivable. How about 27 minutes, Doctor? How
Yeah.
about that? Huh?
Do I hear 30?
30? Can we get 30? Oh, here we go. Right. So, everyone, we will start in roughly a minute's time. We're sorry we're late. I was making coffee. I'm also dealing with a bad internet situation, which is a different setup, a blank slate behind me, and all that
Right.
exciting stuff. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, I saw someone in the comments was very upset that we got a word of advice, Griffin, that we need to get to our content immediately. So the historical
Yeah.
chatter is not welcome with that one person. But there was a lot of people who are nice enough to inform them that they can actually just skip through, on the
They
bottom bit
can.
of YouTube. Yeah.
They can.
I mean, why you'd
Yeah.
want to do that? Like,
I mean, we have a whole curriculum laid out in a syllabus where we
a syllabus?
armchair mansplain events that happened hundreds of years ago. Um, like for example, have you heard of the Norman conquest of England?
I
Have you heard
have.
about that one?
I have.
Yeah.
Mm. Are we
Um,
getting into that? No. Okay.
no, I don't have the energy
Okay. Not
because I'm
tonight.
too.
No.
My brain produced so many happy brain chemicals from the game today that like it's tired. I'm like a
Okay.
toddler.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like a toddler who got too excited and too worked up, and now he's super tired.
That would be really good on the actual podcast. So let's start. Right.
Okay,
Welcome to the
and
live
go.
reaction. I hate you so much. Um, now we're also dealing with a slight delay. Yes. Welcome to the live reaction Seattle Overload podcast, where the Seahawks have beat the Giants 27-13 in week 8 of the NFL season, and they are now 5-3, first place in the NFC West, and it's amazing. And Griffin, before we came on air, and this is a shocking revelation, but a good one nonetheless. You mentioned you had happy brain chemicals.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
right.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
So that moments ago. Well, when the Seahawks win, apparently my brain
Mm.
is good to go for lasts about 4 or 5 days, and the dread starts creeping in because you're worried that you ponder all the ways they could lose or mess up the following game
Right.
on Friday night, Saturday morning.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I'm feeling good. Matthew, Matt, how are you feeling?
Matty F, please.
No
Is
one
my
calls you Matt. I mean, I call you
no, but
Matthew when I'm upset with you. I call you Matty, but no one calls you Matt, do they?
well, sometimes people call me Matt, and it's quite disarming because I'm like, wow,
Just
that's a
not used to
cool
it.
and more normal nickname than Matty. Like, maybe I should go by Matt.
There's no one
And
to
then it
stop you,
sparks an
dude.
identity crisis, which goes on for like a week.
See, because plenty of people will still call you Matty no matter what. But if you just change your handle to Matt F. Brown for fun, people are just
Mm.
going to call you Matt. It'll be normal.
I feel like Matt F Brown is definitely a color code on like you go to
Oh,
the
yeah.
shops and get your paint.
Matte. Yeah, for
With the
sure. For sure.
F, like the F is
Um,
a certain, yeah.
also, because it's your, even though it's your real name, it's like your pseudonym. It's like your stage name, Matty F. Brown,
Yeah, a star,
as
talent,
as a
complete
media
talent.
member.
Yeah.
But like in real life, in person, when you're out when you go to the grocer or you're about town and you be like, "Hey, I'm Matt. How you doing? Nice to meet you."
No, I don't do that. I go, hello, I am Matty F Brown from Twitter. It's an honor to meet you.
And
You
you
can
just
call me
run into
Matty.
fans everywhere. I see. Anyway, we're here to react to the Seahawks winning. We're not here to react to your assortment of identity crises. That's
Yes.
for another time.
And they beat the
Um,
Giants 27-13, Griffin. Geno
yeah,
Smith, 23 of 34 for 2 passing touchdowns, 212 total yards. It could have been more. We will get to that. The defense only allowed 225 total yards, and they registered 5 sacks. Now, a lot of that yardage came in garbage time, and a lot of the sack total also came in garbage time. Well, not a lot, but like 2. Anyway, Griff, you're the stats boy today. Do you have
Yeah.
further stats to add to this dominant Seahawks victory, which really it looked like I tweeted out Brian Dable coaches like he has a voodoo doll on the sideline or something because
Does he?
these games are so weird
Oh yeah.
and I don't know what's going on. And it was like, are the Seahawks gonna somehow lose this when they should be up by like 3 scores? And they didn't. They just finished it. So that was
Right.
absolutely lovely stuff.
Yeah, I mean they flirted with it being a classic Giants game. But then
Bit of
also like
flirting.
the Seahawks, they've had the same energy in some of their games, like the Saints games and the Lions game, right? It's just they're rebounding now. They've got the same like weirdo tendencies, but they're just kind of getting their ish together. So that's good. But yeah, you wanted some stats.
Yeah.
I'm playing Stats Boy tonight.
Give me all the stats.
So
I need
yeah, so Geno Smith, as we have it there on the graphic, 23 for 34, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 104 pass rating. I don't have his QBR offhand. I can get that though. But like you said, there were some drops. I mean, he played better than that stat line. They were 3 for 13 on third downs, and I think that some of the drops or the opportunities that they squandered were on third downs, weren't they?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
And also, if when you get to the red zone numbers, but also in the red zone, it's sort of stalled out
right.
because they missed the opportunities via.
And the other stat of importance were the sacks. 3 sacks, which isn't an egregious number, but not a great number either. But I believe all 3 of them came in the first half.
Right.
And you had Austin Blythe out for quite a bit of time, and of course, Don Wink, quote unquote, Martindale is notorious for his pressure and blitz packages, right? And I think 2 of them were unblocked, right? So
yes, and I think neither of them were on Geno Smith in terms of you go review the film and you go, oh, quarterback, you need to throw hot off this, but you can, as a quarterback, point out, hey, this guy's coming to let your running back 100% know. You can also get to the line of scrimmage quicker, which isn't just on the quarterbacks, on the play caller. And they did feel they were snapping it at 1 a lot, which wasn't the case of undressing blitzes, but it was more the case of we're taking a bit too long. And, but yeah, I mean, really, the Travis Homer, like Mark Sanchez, I thought did a good job again in the booth and
yeah, he
just
did.
sort of explaining football succinctly and accurately and in the moment. And he put that on Homer, and it looked like it was on Homer, right? Like he's not even looking there. The guy did a good job disguising as though he's in man coverage. Then he comes along, and oh dear, Gino gets whacked.
Right.
Did well to hold on to that football.
Yeah, he did. And the fact that they didn't give any sacks up in the second half kind of demonstrates the adjustments they made, and the ability to stay organized for it. So, yeah, this offense they've had complete games for sure, but they definitely, if they have in the games where they've been kind of lopsided, at first it was they come out the gate hot and then they have poor second halves. But the fact that they can bounce back after a rough first half, like the Cardinals game, then
Different
this
ways to
game,
win.
yeah, I mean, like they've got fight in them, and they're not a 1 trick or 2 trick pony. They've got multiple tricks that they've trained their pony to be
Gallops
able
and
to execute.
canters and
Gallops, canters,
other equestrian moves, which
again,
we're still learning.
if any of the equestrian sect of our audience wants to chime in with some more details on the types of gaits from
Are they a sect?
horse-related species, factions, sect,
Not
portions.
a lobby? I'm feeling a bit of pressure personally.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other uncharacteristic, very uncharacteristic errors from this person, but the kind of weird funk of the offense was Tyler Lockett's game until his touchdown catch, which was excellent, and that's a sublime drive that I'd like to speak to. But while we're on the topic of errors, Lockett fumbles it in a really weird way, sort of like he was I mean, he's been trying to protect himself from contact for a while, and he's sort of going into his usual sort of cradle position as he was tackled, and the ball comes loose, gives up the ball at the 2-yard line. To that point, the Seahawks defense had basically been pitching a shutout, and unfortunately, that removed the shutout because 2-yard line's tough to get the stop, right?
Right, for sure.
And so that sucked. And then Lockett has the drop touchdown where...
For the record, I agree that it sucked.
Wow. Bold cutting opinions here. Yes. And then he has the drop touchdown, which, again, that sucked too. Griff, are you in agreement there?
Yep.
Phew.
Yep. Keep going, yeah.
It'd be really bad if we fell out live. Yes, and then he redeems himself. But yeah, the offense was sort of getting in his way. But should we talk about a redemption? Because that was one heck of a drive. And I said earlier in the game, I'll stop saying that I tweeted. But you can follow me on Twitter at Matty F. Brown. You can follow Griffin on Twitter at CMike's Spin Move. I tweeted earlier in the game. It was weird how they were kind of running so much on early downs. I'm interested to see how that shakes out. Now, over the whole season, of course, they've been like 60% in neutral situations, early down pass rate, correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, this game, they did open fairly pass heavy, though.
They did? I felt like they were running on
I think they had a couple of run-heavy drives.
Right.
I think that's because, so it's kind of an illusion because they started the year win and under center. They started the year passing a lot in under center. But gradually over the past few weeks, when they've been in under center, they've been running more within that formation. So when you don't see a lot of under center play actions, it kind of gives the illusion that they're being super run heavy, even when they're not, because they're just spending more snaps in gun and pistol. And they're just saying like, Gino, just go be a drop back passer and just get it to him, which he does for the most part. So it gives an illusion of it. But that said, their early down pass rate through the first 3 quarters was like 65% this game.
Okay, well, that shows them anecdotally I'm a very unreliable person. But anyway.
Well, same, because I was like, oh, this probably feels like a 55-45 game, 50-50 game maybe even. And I checked it and I was like, oh, wow. They're actually passing a lot. So it's just it's the under center runs.
Yeah. But regardless, that drive where it's like, okay, it's a 1-score game, only 3-point lead. And then they open 5. They go 5 passes down the field. They mix in a bit of tempo. They throw it off cornerbacks. Gino said that it was a lot of cover zero in the game in general, and I think one of them was a cover zero beater. He said they got like 20 plus snaps of cover zero, which again is what you get with Don Wink Martindale.
Indeed.
But it is Don, right?
Don, yeah.
Yeah, Don. That's so cool having the name Don and then going, nah, you know what? That's a cool name, but I'm gonna go by Wink.
Wink, yeah.
He's kind of aced it there. Good job. Anyway,
well, it gives him some flexibility because in some circles you can go by Don, and I'm sure it works. In other circles, Wink, and I'm sure that's done a lot for him.
And even Coach Martindale. I mean, Martindale's a great surname.
Very distinguished.
He's got the trifecta.
Yeah, and he's got good blitz packages. So
yeah,
I mean, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of good packages going for him.
There you go.
Name and blitz.
The drive where they go 5 straight passes, that was baller, and it ends with the double move to Lockett after they've sucked up the cornerbacks and they've hit it underneath, and they're like, "We'll throw another hitch or comeback or something at you. Are you gonna do anything?" And then psych. And it was cool after the game. Gino described how Lockett saw the corner was playing squat technique on him. So it gave Gino a hand signal for their double move play they have. And Gino was like, yep. And then perfect throw, beautiful spiral.
Yeah.
And Lockett catches the touchdown, redemption. Seahawks step on the throats, and all's well that ends well.
Yeah. So on that note, the deep balls, especially down the sideline, they are happening so frequently now that I'm no longer like remarking like, oh my gosh, are they going to be can they access the sideline now? Like, it's just something you are no longer surprised by. It's just the thing
you've
that
moved
it's just
out of the concern. You've moved out of the concern.
It's just a thing that they do. It's just a thing that they do now. Yeah. They've done it to DK, to Goodwin, and Tyler Lockett. So that's
And
all very good
again,
stuff.
if you go back to the West Virginia stuff, Gino could sling it deep.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
could sling it deep. So it's very cool.
yeah.
Very, very cool.
Especially as the protection. Part of it is that we're so used to those deep sideline balls coming in a certain way, right? With Russell Wilson for so long. So this is you
The
move out
moon
of
ball.
right. You move out of that world into something kind of a little bit more conventional. When and how they come and what they look like, but it's just hit him when you do sling it out there, hit him, and he was perfect today throwing those sideline balls. So yeah, good stuff.
So I want to talk about like this being a big victory in terms of like Pete Carroll's post-game press conference because he was exuberant. I mean, yeah, they're top of the NFC West. I think there's a good vibe around the team, but like Pete is saying, on the Seahawks play style, look at how we're playing. We look like how we used to look, referring back to the Legion of Boom era. And the stadium is rocking like it used to rock. And we're playing the kind of football that gives us the chance to win every time we go out, which, I mean, that's. I don't think he felt they were doing that in 2021, for instance. 20. He also said on the 2022 Seahawks, it's happening, and I'm really excited about it. We're just getting warmed up. We're right in the middle of it all, and we've got a long ways to go. Um, Exciting. And then he called out the haters. he, he went even further than other comments, and he said, "All the people that doubt like you," referring to Greg Bell, who it was because Greg asked the question, but I think he was sort of joking with all the reporters in the room. He said, "He's like you're losing it. We run the ball too much. We don't understand football. You can't stay up with the new game and all that kind of stuff. That's a bunch of crap. I'm telling you, because look, we're doing fine. We're all right. So I don't mind proving it day in and day
Yeah,
out."
yeah,
So
yeah,
awesome. And
yeah,
the vibes around the team are very, very positive.
yeah. And winning does that, but this team definitely has its own special character to it. That even if they keep, say, 99% of the roster for next year, they'll take on like a different form, a different mentality, right? Like
Yeah.
this year for this team, with how they got to this point, will definitely be its own thing and something you probably can't relive.
Yeah. Pete
And like
described them as special.
yeah, yeah. It's cool. Like they've rallied around Gino, but then Gino's also clearly not someone that needs rallied around per se. So it's like he's giving that energy right back. And like you see him on the sideline, like not to infer too much, because I'm sure we have no idea what the dynamics of the relationships are because we can't hear what they're saying. We don't know what they do during the work week, and like we can't hear the conversations, most of them anyway. But just from what we can observe on the sideline, like he's clearly like a hardened vet quarterback presence who can talk up the whole sideline. You can tell
Like
that they buy into it,
his his conversation with D. Eskridge and Gino referenced that after in his press conference as well, where he says how D takes things really hard and he wants to be right. And I actually wonder, if there's a element of him trying too hard at times, which would
Yeah,
explain some of his errors, right? Trying to force
right.
it a bit too much and not being loose out there. But Gino says about being that guy who, was supporting D and talking him through it. He also went over to Tyler Lockett after Lockett's drop. And yeah, I think that speaks to that. And Carroll described Gino as the real deal in his post-game press conference. And you can't really argue with that. I mean, this should have been, I mean, we've already said it, but this should have been like a 3, possibly 4 touchdown game for Gino. I know
Yeah.
football's full of if, buts, and maybes, but this was a very,
Well,
uh,
not if, buts, and maybes. That's not how the saying goes. Sorry to cut you off. The
oh,
saying
no,
goes, if
no,
you
no,
remember,
yeah, fine.
if and buts were candied nuts, we'd all be snacking like kings. That's how everyone says it.
Mm.
Maybe they do it differently in England, but here, that's what people say. Sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 fine, fine. Absolutely necessary. Thank you. And
Sure.
so let's talk about the defense, Griff, because the defense stopped the run for the most part, right?
Yeah.
We'll delve into the tape on Thursday, or if you listen, Friday. But look like a similar approach to what they've been doing. Looks like they've sort of found their base early down approach and settled
Mhm.
into that. Didn't feel like they blitzed at all, like in terms of sending additional rushers. But I did see, occasional, bonus fire zone stuff. But
Mhm.
the standout performance is Uchenna Nwosu, who, what an off-season addition.
Yeah.
2 sacks today. Disruptive though in the run game, particularly. I don't know. You're the stat boy. Did he have any tackles for loss? But he
I
also
think he
covered.
had. I think he had two. Um,
There you go. And he also
I
covered Saquon Barkley on a wheel route, like looking real comfortable. And
yeah.
just and he's playing a lot of snaps. Like it's what an odd. I said he could be like a top 5 when it's all said and done, a top 5 free agency addition from Schneider and Carroll. Because I mean, price has to be factored in. Unbelievable
Yeah.
stuff right now.
Yeah. I mean, they're now like when they signed him, I thought, well, you are probably getting exactly what you paid for. Like he played like a, with the way the market is at edge and stuff, he played like a $10 million per year player in LA, which is a high quality player, right? Not elite, not Pro Bowl, but like high quality. And he's out playing that right now, like, in all levels. Yeah, the fact that you saw him running down the sideline, that's probably will be something we really dive into on the tape podcast. But like Dable knew, like, okay, if we find the quarter side and we figure them out formationally, which he did,
He
we're going
tried
to
to do that,
isolate
yeah.
that quarter flat defender. We're going to work it, and he got the looks he wanted, but
Hmm.
just whether it was Maffei or Nwosu, they were covering it up. So he's just playing great, and I think generally for the entire defensive line, everyone at this point for 3 weeks running is a contributor. Everyone's contributing. Puna Ford is back to like the version of him that we know. Brian Mona is looking a lot more like 2020 Brian Mona, not 2021 Brian Mona, who was still a good player, but 2020 was like, he looks like Al Woods. And now he's playing like Al Woods is playing. Al Woods played a good game. Quentin Jefferson is a lot stouter against the run. And the fact that they've weaponized him a little bit against the run, he can get upfield but still play, disciplined, right? Striking that balance. Bruce Irvin stepped in for Daryl Taylor and he was doing things. So it's the tweaks they've made have really maximized everyone, and they don't have, even though Nwosu is like next gen stats said something like he has like the most volume pressures, the most total
Right.
pressures. I'm still not going to say he's like a tier 1 or even tier 2 edge. He's probably tier 3.
Hmm.
If you think about how many guys there are, that's
Well,
still
and
really high
also
praise
there's a quality of pressure, right? Like I think a lot of his
for
stuff,
sure.
not to, I mean, don't get it twisted. I just said he could, when it's all said and done, be a top 5 addition. I do think quite a few of the pressures will be ones where it's an inside flush move, or he's running like
It's kind of
the inside part of
subjective.
a game, and then it's highly subjective, yeah. And
Yeah,
now he's in the conversation, he will start getting more and more of those, and so we'll see. But the
sure.
encouraging thing is like, guys,
Yeah.
he should be in the Pro Bowl discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, he should be. He should
like,
be. And I'm kind of undoing my point, but like it's cool that they don't have a single guy on the line that you would consider just, an overwhelming talent, right? Like a true blue chip, but they've got like 5 or 6 guys that have high level impact still. So it's a very cool ensemble group with a cool blend of different skill sets. So
yep.
like
and
Shelby
and
Harris is getting interior pressure, Quentin
and
Jefferson's getting
hustling.
yeah.
And Cesar Castillo in the comments, they correctly point out Bruce Irvin made some great plays. Yep. Darryl Taylor left with a hip injury, on top of he was already dealing with a groin injury. And then the fact that Irvin's coming again, he's getting chipped in pass pro. Like Bruce Irvin's getting chipped in pass pro. 35-year-old Bruce Irvin, what was on the street 3 weeks ago, two
Mhm.
2 weeks ago, like, and he's come in, he can set an edge, he's reliable enough. Yeah, he had a bad missed tackle on Daniel Jones, but like he's doing a job.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just nice. It's all fitting
Yeah.
together. And then on the back end, Griff, like Mike Jackson, okay, he gave up one catch, but that was a good beater. You spoke about how Dable found ways to isolate the quarter flat player on the defensive line, but also on the back end. If it was the quarter flat player being like a Ryan Neal in dime, he had one good beater, and
Yeah.
Seattle got let off on a post wheel kind of beater to what I think was quarters as well. But other than that, Mike Jackson was sticky. He was hitting dudes in cover two. He was rallying down. He was showing all the things that he showed in the preseason in terms of like his ability to from a pedal to then break downhill with
Yeah.
burst and twitch, and his ability to be in phase over the top, not get too much depth and in his cushion,
Agreed.
but also the physicality which he showed in the preseason. But now it seems, and okay, the Giants aren't exactly a gauntlet of wide receivers, but for him it's kind of 3 weeks running, right? Like he's
Yeah.
stacking reps, he's putting things together, it's coming together. I think he's come to the first string kind of speed and adjustment
Yeah.
that was needed,
Because
which
he's a 4-4 guy. Like he has real speed, and I think the reason why
yeah,
it looks like he's playing faster is, like you said, he's stacking reps. But like, what might that mean on a literal, like what is on a literal standpoint? What does that actually translate to? Stacking reps. He's trusting his eyes more when reading the top of the route, and then from that trusting his speed, which lets him trust his eyes more to go make the play. Like he's contesting stuff. He's contesting routes that break, and then he's not giving up anything down this. Like he's covering the fade and the go, which is priority number one, right? For a quarter or cover three corner when you're playing the quarter side, right? Or you're in cover three, you have to clamp down on the go ball. He's doing that, and he's pretty much been doing that, right? But then now he is becoming more competitive when the routes break, on whether it's a comeback or an inbreaker, an outbreaker, and that's when you start to become a difference maker at corner. It really felt like overall the Giants didn't really get anything on offense except for like a string of third downs on 2 drives in the fourth quarter.
yeah.
And
How were their third down numbers, Griff?
they were 6 for 16 on the day, which really, it felt a lot worse than that. But I think that's because they
I think it's
started the
garbage
game
time.
off garbage. Yeah, probably garbage time. They started the game off 1 for 6, and then they had some. They definitely had some plays where they were giving them up, where they were over defending, probably deep, the explosive play. You had Neal on the one crosser, on the shallow cross. Then you had the one on Woolen where it just as easily could have been an interception. And then the
Oh
one
yeah,
where,
that was freaky. Yeah, that was
yeah,
a moment where I was like, is this happening?
right. And then there was
The
one,
Giants doing something?
I think this is the one you referenced, but they had that one inbreaker, and I wondered if Kobe didn't read the right like outside route. So I don't know what happened there. That was the main one I wanted to know, because that one felt like a bust, whereas the other ones were like one-on-one situations and tight spots, and
Yeah. So
you know,
the other thing with the secondary, and we spoke about it before, but it's worth re-emphasizing, is the rush and the coverage is working together and vice versa. And I think
yeah,
there's more of an understanding of how it all fits together amongst the players. And again, Carroll mentioned like the players are doing this, like they've sort of brought in together. Diggs kind of mentioned in his post-game presser as well, similar kind of stuff of how they're all sort of meshing together well. And
yeah,
that is showing up. And like if you know that you have to cover for this long and then your rush is probably going to do this, you sort of understand that, then you can cover in a different way. And the other thing, the fact that they just sat in 4-man rush,
well,
and they
so
were fine.
they
And
were,
the being at home, like with it rocking, and like there's a reliable center point, and if the center's pointing out the mic each time, then the defensive line knows which side they're sliding to. And the reason they have to point out the mic each time is because it's so loud. And when you know that, you know which side the one-on-ones are. And when you know which side the one-on-ones are for your pass rush, you know which side you can run games, which like a slant flat or rub combination downfield against man-to-man coverage. You can run games which separate against man pass protection, which what Seattle did. Like on Nwosu's second sack, he was running the inside pick against the man man pass protection when they slid the other way from that. So
Agreed.
great
Agreed.
stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. And further to your point about um, the prevalence of four-man rushes not setting pressure, that's almost more telling for the run defense than it is the pass rush, because they're playing a quarterback running team with Saquon Barkley, and they're playing a lot of odd spacing, right? So the fact that they didn't feel the need to send fire zones or five-man rushes, not for pass rush purposes, but for run defense purposes, means that they have the performance within their base calls, but then the flexibility within, the fronts that they move in and out of, just to handle it, to handle
And their
the C
personnel,
gap
yeah.
problems, the D gap problems, the alley problems, right? In the personnel, like you said, because it's like they've got the 5-1-5, the 3-3-5, and the 4-2 or 2-4-5 personnel packages, and they're really finding their beats of when they weave in and out of it to get the right matchups that they want on the back end, while still staying sound up front and giving your four-man rush as much of a chance as possible. And it's like they've just struck the perfect balance. They're being exactly who they want to be, and like sending pressure is for a team that isn't a blitz heavy team, like it's not their identity. Setting pressure is a fantastic tool to smooth out problems and as a change-up call, right? That's something that they did last year to great effect, especially like the second half of 2020. Ken Norton Jr. is like, if I got a problem, I'm going to send 5, and it's not necessarily for pass rush. It solves like 3 different things at a time. Right now, they have the guys where they don't feel like they need to do that. Also,
Yeah.
it was really, we saw some, I think, where they played Bear, but they won. I felt like they had a urgency to have Cody, Barton, and Neal and Bryant out on the field at the same time. And it's hard for them to run that and stay flexible in the coverages that they want to run. So I think that they combined cover 3 in nickel with them in Bear as well. And I think that's where we saw some of the like the 3-3-5 again.
Right.
That had a prevalence, but I think that they want the versatility that they have, because it's their most versatile back seven, I think, when they have 2 inside linebackers and both Neal and Bryant out there.
Yep.
So I'm really curious to see what story the tape tells there. Because
the special teams deserves a mention. Now, real quick, Cesar Castillo in the chat again. Great stuff. Apparently, 3 of the 6 third down conversions the Seahawks defense allowed came on one drive, which only ended in 3 points. So that's cool. I agree, Cesar. That is very cool.
Indeed.
So, special teams, let's go. They had a bit of an issue on the left side of their punt, especially when they punt coverage when they're punting to the left, like the near side. It ended up being, but then one of them came back on a penalty. I think a bit of an over exuberance, perhaps from I think it was Joey Blunt on that side. But anyway, they got 2 turnovers, 2 takeaways, and they also managed to hit a field goal from 35 yards that got tipped, which was incredible. Which Myers must have absolutely blasted that football.
Yeah.
Come on, give me special teams analysis.
Yeah, because that's something I really pay close attention to. Myers is a good kicker. This is an up year for him.
It is.
He's hitting everything. Even when he misses, he makes it, apparently, which is very good. The coverage units were really good too. I think there was maybe one run that got away from a little bit. Was that the one that got called back? I mean, Pete Carroll talked about how we're the fastest we've ever been. Like, he has emphasized special teams. He's even mentioned Joey Blunt. Everyone was flying out. Even Will Disley was getting in on the action. So
yeah, to that
the forced fumble.
On that point about sort of special team speed, did you see the Next Gen Stats GPS tracking?
I did not.
Oh my word. Blunt and Xavier Coleman, who'd been called up to play special teams, they both almost hit 23 miles per hour on kickoff coverage against the Chargers last week.
That's crazy.
Like, they're flowing out there. Very, very cool. Griff, what other stats stand out to you?
What
Stats
others?
stats
What
boy.
other stats stood out to me? We didn't talk about Ken Walker.
Oh,
18 carries for 51 yards. Not the most fantastic of averages. The run blocking actually didn't do the the offensive line played well in the second half, especially, but the run blocking wasn't really there.
and if it's
But
cover zero, then
sure,
you know
it's hard. I mean, you're running into a stacked box a lot of the time. But Walker had some great runs. Like he had a lot of those impressive 1, 2, 3 yard runs, right, where it looked like it should have
100.
been a
Yeah, yeah.
TFL.
And there
But
was a
then,
few where they just got a shoestring, and it was like this is going to the house.
right,
Like
right,
maybe 2 or 3. There was a lot of last ditch tackles. Where on another day you feel, one of them, 2 of them, and then looks very different, doesn't it?
yeah, kind of like the opposite of Seattle defending the 49ers earlier this year, where if they had made their last ditch tackles in that game, the averages look a lot different. But I digress.
Mm.
And I progress
The
to
the
back to
the the
Kenny
second
Walker's
place in the
touchdown run.
NFC West 49ers, that is.
True.
Yeah.
But that touchdown run was cool because I mean when he got tripped up and he lost his balance then he got contacted by the defender. I thought for sure he was going down, and sure enough he didn't. He stayed on his feet. I was like, I thought any glancing contact he would be on the
He
ground.
seems to be able to adjust his body like to really quick moments so perfectly.
Yeah,
He just capitalizes. It's like I don't know what to liken it to.
it's like an
He just
elite running back. If it
yeah. There
matters.
we go. Like a top 50 pick running back.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like it when running backs that play for the
So
team that I root for stay on
when
their feet and
when
score
he cut
touchdowns.
that run back, Griff, was that a It was kind of a U shape, right? Because he's running right, and then he bends it round to the left.
No,
Real
nice
cut back.
try. No, no, no. It was more like
Oh,
a
oh
curved L,
no, not a U-turn when I say it. I
not a
get it.
U-turn.
No, I get it. Yep. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yep. So also, Austin Blythe left the game with what Carroll described after the game as a sprained knee. Kyle Fuller came in and I didn't really notice. So I think Kyle Fuller
It's
did
a
a
good
good job.
sign.
Good job for him.
He was playing better in preseason this year, but
Yes.
and that was the thing that was commented on, but you don't make too much of it because Blythe is supposed to be the guy, and you don't know how to perceive preseason play always, right? Especially when you've got regular season tape to evaluate. But like, I guess he is improved, which isn't crazy. He's a younger player. And also to the point about how they didn't have any second half sacks, that is a huge credit to Fuller handling the communications aspect of
Yes.
it and the duties of the center. So
Now Blythe did come back into the game. I'm not sure at what point.
yeah, true. I don't have the snap counts in. I'm looking
The
for them,
snap
but I haven't
counts have
been.
not been published yet. But yeah. And then other injury updates. Carroll thinks that Lockett and Metcalf exited the game fine. Obviously, Lockett was dealing with an oblique kind of deal, which flared up on Thursday. And Metcalf was playing through a partial patella tendon tear with superimposed tendinopathy, as it was described to me on Monday. So that's kind of crazy. And he didn't shy away from contact. He ran through people. He looked fine. I mean, it's scary to think he's playing through that, but obviously we're not doctors. We're not privy to the information they are, and he came out of it fine. So they got away with it. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, and so ultimately, I mean, what were the receiving like catching breakdowns? Because
We
it felt
have
like a pretty typical game for the targets and like how it spread out. Because I expected the tight ends. Not that I wrote
we
a
had
Substack article on the tight ends being a massive piece and even more important, but
oddly enough, they didn't have a lot of tight end usage this game, which you'd think
oh, there
maybe.
we
So
go. I know
maybe that's a
nothing. I'm just clueless.
well. Although that
Yes.
maybe the tape will show that the Giants were expecting that and Seattle adjusted. But anyway, Tyler Lockett 5 for 8, 63 yards. DK Metcalf 6 catches on 10 targets, 55 yards. Marquise Goodwin 5 targets, 4 catches, 33 yards. And then Fant and Disley had 2 apiece, and Colby just the 1.
There you go.
Eskridge 2, Walker 2.
And Lockett
Travis
should have
Homer
been
1.
like over 100 as well. So
It was a game that supported a 100-yard game for him, and DK himself probably would have had 70 if he caught that corner route on that 3rd and 10, which could have been called for DPI, but that same situation goes uncalled probably more often than not. So, but yeah, even though Goodwin dropped that touchdown, that was followed up by the 2 4th downs and the touchdown, I think, to DK on that one. The fact that he is still getting open and separating is a really good sign. I mean, there's a lot more to him than like
100%. He
he's
has
not.
juice. Like he
Yeah,
may be 32, but he has legs still. Like he can
yeah,
run, and he
he
still
can
has
run
his
routes
trademark
too.
speed. Yeah, and very clean
Yeah.
route runner. Yeah.
So what I'm saying
That was
is,
unfortunate. I don't know why it went through his hands. I feel like maybe the defender was fairly tight. Like he was open, but he's fairly tight. So
yeah,
maybe like just a flash of a glove trying to swat it just put him off.
yeah, you wonder. And also like Tyler, the one that he dropped where it hit his helmet, and then the
Yeah.
one where DK where he got his arm pinned, but he still got his other hand in there at the end. I
Right.
wondered if there is some comment like, was the rain affecting how they were tracking the ball? I don't know. I
It
feel
was
like it's
raining?
just, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just randomness and I'm making all this up.
Well, the problem is as well because of my internet issues. I was watching this on it was like 360 pixels. So
That's awful.
yeah. Does the P it can't stand for pixels? I think I mean like 1080p. That can't be
Yeah.
pixels. Is it pixels?
Computer generators, what's the word I'm looking for? The computer engineers section of our audience. Go ahead and leave a comment in the chat. Tell us what the P stands for. When you go onto YouTube and you adjust the quality from 240 to 480 to 720 to 1080, tell us what that P means.
And then I can truly understand that I was watching on a granular, often granular video. But
perhaps it was grainy, granular.
Yes, could have been. But anyway,
I'll U-turn on that one. I didn't like that one.
But anyway, it did clear up for that beautiful Geno pass against cover 0 to Tyler Lockett, where Lockett couldn't quite get his second foot in bounds. But that again was another near connection on 2nd and long, which now that's incomplete, and they didn't have a 0 beater other than that deep pass. Now that fell incomplete, then it's 3rd and long, and it's difficult. But that on another day, they're really close to having a go-off game again, I'd say. This wasn't quite... this should have been. 27-13. What was your score prediction?
I can't remember. We can watch it back. Okay, wait, we have an answer. Ryan Winkleman.
He's just Googled that.
Oh.
Yeah, Wikipedia.
No,
we don't accept. No, you can't trust Wikipedia. Anyone can edit it.
No. He's got no. No, this is good. 1080p is a set of HD TV high definition video modes characterized by 1,920 pixels displayed across the screen horizontally and 1,080 pixels down the screen vertically. The P stands
sorry
for
to interrupt.
progressive scan.
Okay.
So it is progressive.
Yeah, but the thing is, the bit before the P stands for progressive scan had me really hopeful that the P would stand for pixels because there's lots of pixel talk,
Right. No, it is confusing for sure. Someone who's not, well versed in
imagine
technology.
not being well versed in that. We're so well versed now, thanks to Ryan. Yeah. Anyway, what was your score prediction before? Because I think I said
it was
31-7,
a lot to a little,
and it should have been 31-7.
It should have been 31-7. That's
again.
Funny. I think I said something like 24 20. Did I say that? I don't know.
Possibly. Someone called me Matty Beebs in the chat. I do need to get a haircut. If you like the video, I can get a haircut. That's my promise. I'll be looking sharp.
That's not a Bieber haircut.
And Cesar said that I was being mean about Wikipedia. I mean, yes, but that's because I think one of my articles is cited on there underneath the Seahawks cover 3 defense. So
Is it
they've got
really?
a problem.
That's cool.
No, it's not cool. Need more stringent checks. Anyway, any other news, Griffin? Any other things to deal with before we hop off?
No.
The Rams' offense is broken, so that's good news. Seahawks play the Cardinals next week. Who did they win today?
Cardinals lost. They're 3-5.
That's a shame.
So
Damn.
the Seahawks need to win again.
Yes.
How many wins takes the division?
10.
I think it might be 11.
9.
I think the Niners will squeak their way to 10 wins.
Yeah, that's what the 49ers are good.
Right.
And McCaffrey's giving them a little boost.
Yeah. Like the defense is mortal in that they gave up a bunch of points to the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are still the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are immortal.
I expect the 49ers to, give any offense other than the Chiefs and maybe the Bills a hard time. So I feel like, and Shanahan's still Shanahan. They might have a stinker game every once in a while with Jimmy, but today was a very efficient game. So I feel like they're going to go 10-7. So the Seahawks need to either go 10-7 and win a tiebreaker, or win 11 games.
Tiebreaker. We miss you, Ty.
That's true. We miss Ty. See, he would have had that information. He would have known exactly what the tiebreakers would be right now.
As I said, the Seahawks play 5 of their last 7 games at home. So let's go. And good news, I've been credentialed to go to the Seahawks Munich game, so we will have more overload content about that, and also on my Substack, Seahawks on Tape. So that's exciting when it comes. But first, the Cardinals. And if you're watching this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening, please give us a 5-star review, download it, subscribe, get it in your feeds, recommend it to friends, family, all that good stuff. I don't know, where did you last visit, Griff? Like cafe? Did you go to a restaurant? Did you go to Trader Joe's?
I went to a pharmacy, actually.
Recommend it to your pharmacist. Because pharmacists, that must be quite a dull job, because you're literally, this is so ignorant. This is not understanding what pharmacists do, but I imagine you're just getting people's prescriptions ready all day. So you could definitely listen to a podcast, right?
Yeah, but they're also understaffed right now.
Oh, so they're probably so busy they can't. They're
just trying to get customers, not have them scream at them.
But they could drown the screaming out by listening to Seattle Overload. Do you see my point?
True. That's true.
Yes.
Anyway, so we've established that the Seahawks are good.
They are
good.
The
offense is for real, albeit mortal. It's not immortal, but it's still good.
Not yet.
And not yet mortal or not yet immortal?
Not yet immortal, but the trade for insert receiver.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to indulge you.
So I'm no longer saying we have to trade for Brandon Cooks or Elijah Moore or Darren Waller.
Why?
I'm only saying it would help. It would be good. That's
quite wishy-washy.
So Elijah Moore was also really pissed off today. Did you see the quote after the Jets game?
Was he seemed like spin move is right. Seattle should trade for me.
Yeah, but right after he said that, they asked him, do you have chemistry issues with your quarterback, Zach Wilson? He was like, I don't know. I only got targeted once today, so I don't know. Get him out of there, Salah. Even if it's on him, even if he's the the reason for it, which I don't think he is. Come on, John. Send him a third. Send him a second. You got 2.5 more seasons of rookie control.
Mm-hmm. Just D. Eskridge is discarded.
Yeah, not necessarily though, because
what is Elijah Moore? Like, what type of player?
he's Brandon Cooks. He's Brandon
Okay.
Cooks. He's going to be Brandon Cooks.
So he's more outside than inside.
He can do it all. I mean, you can do the thing where you reduce him. He's the outside receiver, but he's reduced. The thing is, he attacks the ball in the air for a guy that is 5'9", and he can run every route. Inbreakers, outbreak, against zone, against man.
So he's what D. Eskridge is going to be when he stops trying so hard.
He's what you could only hope D. Eskridge could be, and I think he just has more tools. I like Eskridge. I mean, in that I haven't written him off. I haven't written him off.
You're trying to trade for a receiver.
Elijah Moore is so similar to Brandon Cooks. It's amazing that Sean McVay hasn't coughed up whatever's necessary to go get him. Okay. I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
I don't know why I went down this rabbit hole. Anyway, I'm sure we'll be going down more rabbit holes.
So the Seahawks are good. Offense is good, albeit missing Elijah Moore. The defense, 3 games in a row of being good.
I'm trying to end the podcast, Griff.
So was I. Sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead, end it.
No, keep going.
I said everything.
There's a delay. I feel terrible.
Okay. End it.
No, I feel good. The Seahawks won. It's good. As Griff said, 3 games of good defense. Offense is still great. Thank you, everyone, for watching live. And yeah, share it with your friends and everyone and support the podcast. Follow @Seattle Overload.
All right, and go.